I'm really looking forward to hearing Emma Roberts in Staffordshire talking about Hungry Little Minds. Over to you, Emma.
Hello, everyone. It's been fascinating to hear what's going on out there, and some really interesting overviews of huge pieces of work. So what I'm going to talk about is an individual campaign. So as introduced, my name's Emma Roberts. I'm from the corporate communications team at Staffordshire County Council. And I'm going to talk to you about a drip email campaign we launched just over 12 months ago, called Hungry Little Minds, Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent. So if we go to the first slide, the campaigns team were tasked with creating a partnership campaign to support early communication development in preschool children. So this is children 0 to 5. And I think one of the big challenges initially was that this was funded by the Department for Education's Early Outcomes Fund to work in partnership with our neighbouring authority, Stoke-on-Trent City Council. So we brought together health, voluntary, social care and early learning partners to look at how we could influence the parents of 0 to 5-year-olds. And we actually decided to focus on 0 to 2-year-olds because we felt if we got in early, got in at the start, that's where we could have the biggest impact with the communications campaign. So to set the scene, and this is pretty standard across the country, in Staffordshire 25% of children, it's slightly higher in Stoke-on-Trent actually, who weren't reaching a good level of communication development by the time they started school. And these children, they weren't catching up, so that affects their behaviour and happiness at home as children, as well as jobs and health outcomes as adults. So we wanted to build on the work that the DFE had done nationally with their Hungry Little Minds campaign, which was really recognisable brand, and to influence parents at a really local level, really drill down right to the start in very local geographical areas right from birth. So if we go to the next slide. Thank you. We knew that the biggest influence on a child reaching their milestones is the parent. It's not about having special skills or expensive toys. It's about the chats, the talking, the reading that a parent does with the child from the moment they're born. And just kind of relates to a slide later on, but that is a picture of Betsy. Betsy was born on the day we had the initial kick-off meeting 2 years ago for the campaign. So a little bit more insight, we knew locally that children from low or no income families were more likely not to reach their communication milestones at 2, and importantly that children that do reach their milestones were more likely to have attended the social sessions, those the face-to-face in-person offer that existed. It was just getting people to know about the sessions and to attend them. So that's sessions in children's centres, in our libraries, voluntary groups, health visitor appointments. We wanted to bring the whole offer together to engage parents. So I just want to be clear at the outset that this wasn't to replace face-to-face or in-person sessions. This was to complement it, and because we knew that some of the parents that we wanted to reach were really much more comfortable in the digital format than they actually found face-to-face quite confrontational. We needed to kind of handhold them and nudge them to that place. So it was never intended to be a replacement for face-to-face activity. We did a lot of audience insight, which told us that to influence parents, we needed to provide regular information over time, so little nudges, and rather than expect them to browse separate websites to discover content, we needed to serve it up to them in one place, because the parents that we really wanted to reach, the low-income families, for whether it was a time issue, they just weren't self-serving, they weren't going and discovering content which was out there, they needed it to be served up to them. The other thing that we knew from the research that we did with the audience was that it needed to be easily accessible on a mobile device. Mobile device online content was their trusted source. So we looked at drip email as a channel. So nobody's talked about email, quite interestingly, yet, because we tend to think about apps and social media, and email's a bit forgotten. It's perhaps deemed a bit old-fashioned, but actually we found that most parents did have access to email, and that with email, we could get all the analytics and information that we wanted about how parents were engaging with the campaign. So you think about a drip email, think about Couch 5K or the smoking cessation programs, and it's a time-limited series of emails that kind of drip out one at a time that encourage people to take a tiny action that builds up to a big impact. So what followed was the development of an extremely complex drip email campaign. It's huge, and complex is written in bold in my notes because it was really complicated to get going with. So we pulled everyone together, the health visitors, early learning professionals, frontline staff, and we developed 52 age and stage emails. So that's one for every fortnight of the first 2 years of a child's life. So if we go to the next slide, sorry. So in total, there are 438 emails in the system, and this is because we have 9 different variations of each of the 52 emails. So parents choose their geographical location when they sign up. We're a big county and Stoke-on-Trent, so there's a lot of diversity within those districts. Each email contains a fact, a simple activity for parents to do at home, and an invitation to a local session. So we use an email system called GovDelivery. So that's a public sector email tool that we already had. And we plugged in the 438 emails into the system to automatically drip out in sequence. So what that means is a parent can join at any point, and from the day the baby's born, or maybe when their baby's 18 months old, and any point between 0 and 2, they can sign up and they'll get an age-appropriate email every 2 weeks until their child's 2. The emails are personalised with the baby's name and tailored content depending on the geographical location. So parents have to subscribe to the email. So obviously that was a challenge first off, getting parents to sign up. The content isn't published anywhere else, and that's to really force parents down the route that we want to be able to measure them by. As a local authority, we actually register the birth of thousands of babies each year, so we capitalised on this by inviting parents who book an appointment online to register the baby's birth to sign up to the campaign. So I'd really recommend that people think about the statutory touch points you have already with parents and how you can use them to kind of share messages. I'm not going to lie, it was painful from a GDPR perspective. Yeah.
Sorry, you've got less than a minute, and I know you've got lots of lovely slides to go. So can you rattle through them, please? Because they look.
So GDPR was really the biggest issue for us, but it was really we got there in the end with that. So I guess skip through to the next screen. So personalised is the big thing. We used a larger font than usual in all emails, so it's super easy to read on mobile, especially for parents that in our research had a reading age as young as 9. And we partnered with BBC's Tiny Happy People as well, so that there's actually video in each email that demonstrates the activity. So I guess if we skip forward to the results, that's probably where we want to be. So within the first 6 months, we had over 2,000 parents sign up. We've got 3,459 parents signed up today. When I checked, 23% of these are from low-income families, and for context, 13% of all families in Staffordshire are low income. We've delivered, it's actually now 43,000 personalised emails with a high open rate, which shows the content's valued by the audience. And then the final slide, a recent subscriber survey showed 87% said they've been inspired by an email to try activity during the last month. And so just, very broadly, we were really thrilled with the response, because during a period when a lot of face-to-face services stopped, we were able to still keep contact with parents and influence, babies to reach their full potential, which is amazing. So that's a real wrap through the end. Sorry, but yeah.
Thank you, Emma. No, please don't apologise. You had so much to say because you're doing great things. So thank you again. And I loved what you said about using the statutory touch point. I think that's